We got to talk about Bill Belichick.
You ripped him.
Okay, I mean, I thought it was elder abuse. Honestly, what I saw there was Dr. Jill. It had Dr. Jill vibes. This overly aggressive younger partner who's in this, apparently he looked infirm to me, the way he was answering those questions. Man who's being taken advantage of. And all I could think was his family needs to do an intervention and get this woman off of his back. But can you set the stage for us on, what's happening with this guy?
I'll start by saying I am a diehard New England Patriots fan.
Yeah, you're from Boston.
What happens when a legendary football coach becomes a puppet in his own life? Bill Belichick, the revered strategist of the New England Patriots, is now under scrutiny for a controversial relationship with a much younger woman. With whispers of manipulation and control swirling, we dive deep into the unsettling dynamics at play.
Diehard. I love Bill Belichick. He's like my guy. He's brought so many championships. I know him personally. He lives on Nantucket. I live on Nantucket. I've met Jordan, so it's a very awkward thing to see. I also watch that show, CBS Sunday Morning, with the interview. It's like my feel-good show. I just like it. I like nature. There's some politics, whatever, but for the most part, that is a drink your coffee, eat your bagel, feel good show. So I was not expecting this interview. I was squirming. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to think about it. It certainly was awkward. I've heard people say, is she taking advantage of him? Well, he's taking advantage of her. He's sleeping with a very attractive young girl, 50 years younger.
This is a classic case of elite manipulation. When power dynamics shift so drastically, it raises serious questions about the motivations behind such relationships. Are we witnessing a genuine connection, or is this a calculated move by a younger partner to gain influence over a powerful figure?
I don't know why she's so involved. I really don't. I've met her. She's nice enough. She's running the whole show. I've known that a couple months ago.
How so?
Every piece of Bill Belichick business goes through her. She is basically, she would act if that was maybe not in a romantic relationship and that's his PR manager.
Or like an agent.
Yeah, nobody's blinking at that. That happens, I'm sure, a lot with celebs who we're not going to talk about it. Now, you combine it with Bill Belichick, who's gruff with the media and generally always handles himself. It's just a very awkward situation. The age gap is huge, clearly, but she runs the show. There's rumors Hard Knocks for HBO was supposed to do North Carolina. She shut that down. The state.
That's where he's the coach now.
Yeah, he's the coach there. So it's just it's such a juxtaposition of a guy who seemingly had no media savvy, but was always just straightforward, no time for the media, now having his life run by a 25-year-old. It certainly is eye-opening for a guy like me. I also know I'm going to run into probably them in Nantucket, and I'm going to be carrying my watermelon out of Stop and Shop, and I don't want it to be an awkward conversation.
Just blame it all on me.
Yeah.
Blame it all on me.
But it went super viral. I mean, it's all anybody's talking about. It's all because it's just such a departure from how a sports fan, Patriot fan, everybody thought of Bill Belichick.
Well, so explain that to me, because I come into this out of left field. I know who he is, of course. Even I know who Bill Belichick is.
He's the greatest coach of all time.
But I don't follow his, I didn't know about the girlfriend and all that. To me, he looked out of it. He seemed confused. But I've never, ever seen him give an interview. Yeah, so I've
seen a lot of people, he's wearing a holy sweatshirt. That's what he does. That is his look.
Does he talk like that? Does he look confused generally?
He generally, if he doesn't want to answer a question, he grumbles and he says, I'm not going to answer that. He's famous for not answering questions. He's never media savvy. Him going on a book tour, which is what he was doing, seems like the last thing he would ever do in a million years. If she wasn't there, I would anticipate him just being like, I'm not going to answer it. He's rarely conducting interviews that he has no interest in. He just doesn't care for the media or what they think. The thing that he said that was the most accurate is probably I don't care what people think about me. And clearly he doesn't. But I've never seen him defer to anybody. Mm-hmm. That is the most shocking. Yeah, if someone else is speaking for him, that never happens. He speaks for himself loudly through his actions, clearly, and is always a general in the commander of the room, really. So to see him basically give what appears to be control of his life to her is shocking. And
this is not just a love story, it's a power play. Belichick's surrender of autonomy to a 25-year-old is alarming. This situation epitomizes how the elite can become entrapped in relationships that serve the interests of their partners rather than their own. It's a disturbing reminder of how easily someone can manipulate those in positions of power.
Most of the audience has probably seen the clip by now, but just in case they haven't, let's play it for them. Let's play the one where she interrupts. This is Bill Belichick on CBS this morning with anchor Tony Dokoupil and his 24-year-old girlfriend, who's 49 years younger than he is, interrupting the interview. Watch.
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that that's the philosophy.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
That's the truth.
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Okay, so now how did you meet? And she interjects, not commenting about this. And there are reports that she actually interjected multiple times. CBS only chose to show the one just to give the audience a true sense of how this thing went down.
And it's about the book. And to CBS's defense, that quote that she is the muse is in the book.
It's in the book. Yeah. Exactly. So now this fight started unfolding online. This is via the Daily Mail, involving Belichick's daughter-in-law. She's married to his son, and her name is Jennifer. She's married to his son, Steve Belichick. Some people were defending Jordan, the girlfriend. For example, somebody posted, former New England Patriots star Julian Edelman.
Saw that.
You know him?
Yep.
Stuck up for her, saying she was merely acting how any PR person would. Comedian Nikki Glazer also defended Hudson, saying 100%. She's acting as his publicist. Publicists do this during interviews. People are out for blood. And first of all, I'll tell you what Jennifer, the daughter-in-law, said, but I have done countless interviews, countless. I've both given as the subject of them and conducted. Literally I've never seen this happen. Never.
Right.
The PR people will come to you before the interview and they will beg you not to cover
or
this.
ask after for it to be cut.
Yes, exactly. That's their job. As a journalist, and Tony Dokoupil is a journalist, you would say, thank you for your input.
Yep.
That's it. You would never make a promise ever. It's literally considered unethical to say, I won't ask about that. At most I've ever heard somebody say is, we can't make you any promises, but we're not that interested in that subject, like a wink and a nod. But never has a PR person ever interjected into an interview
in the middle
like
of
that.
it. No,
it's very unusual.
Get people asking. No, if someone doesn't want to talk about it, we generally want, because people generally want to talk about what you are asking not to talk about, so we won't do it. It's strange. I don't agree with that. It was strange.
Different rules if it's like a host. You know what I mean? If you're sitting to somebody who doesn't consider themselves a journalist, very different. And by the way, this is how talk shows get away with it all the time. I've been asked to go on a bunch of talk shows, including Tamron Hall's like 5 years ago, and her executive producer said, "We'll give you all the questions in advance." I'm like, I'm not doing that. I felt like I don't want that.
Yeah, right.
So she got away with it because they consider that a talk show, but she's not, I guess, calling herself a journalist anymore, or at least wasn't for that show. Okay, so then Jennifer, Belichick's daughter-in-law,
I'm dying to hear this.
weighs in and says publicists act in a professional manner and do not storm off set delaying an interview.
Yeah, so I know them too. This is all like, and that probably tells you everything you need to know about how the family, and that's natural. There's a story that came out in the New York Post, I think yesterday, that she accumulated like $10 million of real estate very quickly. So I'm sure the family, based on that quote, is a little like, what is going on here? And it's just, this is a guy that is not a pushover. He has built his reputation on being like a gruff kind of guy who needs everything particular and detail-oriented. It's just very strange to see.
He's the guy Tim Walsh was trying to convince us he was. No jazz hands.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah, I don't even know if even he was the guy.
Man.
But yeah, he was trying to, I think, be more like a Gronk guy, but who knows?
Well, there's more. So you know about this because I saw you commented on it. So Bill Belichick posted a statement on the UNC, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill is where he coaches, right? Chapel Hill, I think.
Yep.
And he wrote as follows. I agreed to speak with CBS Sunday Morning to promote my new book, The Art of Winning. Prior to the interview, I clearly communicated with my publicist. So he's not even saying he told Tony Dokoupil or the CBS publicist. I clearly communicated with my publicist at Simon & Schuster that any promotional interviews I participated in would agree to focus solely on the contents of the book. Unfortunately, that expectation was not honored during the interview. I was surprised when unrelated topics were introduced, and I repeatedly expressed to the reporter, Tony Dokoupil, and the producers that I preferred to keep the conversation centered on the book. After this occurred several times, Jordan, with whom I share both a personal and professional relationship, stepped in to reiterate that point and help refocus the discussion. She was not deflecting any specific question or topic. I'm sorry, Bill, but she was simply doing her job to ensure the interview stayed on track. Some of the clips made it appear as though we were avoiding the question of how we met, but we've been open about the fact that Jordan and I met on a flight to Palm Beach in 2021, and goes on for them saying these are just selectively edited clips, suggested a false narrative that Jordan was attempting to control the conversation, which is simply not true.
Yeah, I'm like white knuckling the table. In my years following Bill Belichick, I would say my knowledge of him, there's roughly 0% chance he wrote that. But he just doesn't care generally what anyone thinks about him. So to go write that my guess would be Jordan wrote that.
Totally.
The fact it is on the North Carolina website is insane.
Right.
It's just insane. It's shocking.
This is the ultimate form of systemic manipulation. Belichick, a man known for his commanding presence, is now overshadowed by someone who may not have his best interests at heart. It begs the question, how many other elites are being manipulated behind the scenes? This is a wake-up call for all of us to recognize the hidden forces at play in relationships involving power and wealth.
Again, it's I'm speaking to all Patriot fans, Boston people. This guy, like, if you could have predicted this, people would say you're living in a bizarro world. It's just so strange, and this long email, crazy, the public statement, crazy. But I'm not even sure he knows that was written.
You're right.
Like, he may not. He may not. I really don't know.
So the Daily Mail had a comprehensive piece, and they cited the New York Post as reporting, even before this past weekend's interview, Belichick's friends shaking their heads about his relationship with Jordan. Quote, they're talking to him about her, but very gently because they know how deep in it he is. She saw an opening and she took it, an insider added, of how she has inserted herself into every aspect of his life and career. Consensus among people around Belichick, another source said, is that this relationship is alarming and Hudson is a runaway train. However, they include one person defending them, saying, when it comes to the situation, it is just a moment in time. He and Jordan are fine. Nobody should be concerned at this point. But then they also say, multiple reports say UNC is growing uneasy with her involvement in everything.
Yeah, so
him.
There's an adage in sports, winning cures everything. If North Carolina wins, people are going to forget this.
Yeah.
And North Carolina will be happy and look the other way. If North Carolina has a bad season, it's going to get very rocky. It is not, I don't think, normal for a relatively new relationship with this age gap, with the age of someone coming in running his entire life, and like CBS and Hard Knocks supposedly got canceled because of her. It's just shocking. It's just shocking. And there's all being fought and headlines and rumors and back and forth. And by the way, to Jordan's credit, if you want to say credit, she's not taking a step backwards. Like, every time a story comes out, she's pushing forwards. Like, she is not a tame flower. She is not running from this at all.
She's running from how they met. That seems clear. And in my opinion, they did not, quote, meet on a plane.
See, I think they did because
I think they laid eyes on each other in person for the first time on a plane. But she's so defensive about it. There's something more to the story. I don't know what it was. Was it OnlyFans? Was it some setup by a
I don't think so.
matchmaker?
I think they're telling the truth. I just think she's in control in her mind. She's like, we said we're not talking about that. We're not talking about it. Because from the second I met them, the story has been told the same to me. She posted how they met a long time ago.
I know,
You think
but
that's a front?
If they met through...
So she's Fauci to you. She's a criminal. She's like a criminal mastermind.
No, I mean,
she's
listen,
like 30
I
steps
view
ahead.
her the same way I viewed Anna Nicole Smith. Like, everyone understands what the deal here is. He's an older guy with money and power, which some women find, if not attractive, worthy of being with. They can upgrade their lifestyle. They're going
Anna
to travel the
Nicole-
world. And the old guy gets some young, beautiful woman on his arm and probably a lot of hot sex he otherwise wouldn't be having.
Yeah. I mean, could he not? Could he not just get hookers if he didn't want? I don't know. I mean, Anna Nicole, I don't remember. That guy was like on his desk.
He was like 200 years old.
Yeah, he couldn't even get up.
Yeah.
Like Belichick is still outside of this, seems to be normally functioning.
You have no 24-year-old girl wants a 74-year-old man. I mean, that's not what you're attracted to. To me, it's an obvious attempt to be with power and money. It's like, look, a lot of women do that. She's not
Yeah,
alone.
maybe she's legitimately attracted to it. I don't know. The whole thing
Makes you uncomfortable.
It's just it's
As we unravel this shocking tale, we must ask, how does this dynamic reflect the broader manipulation in society? Are powerful figures being compromised, and what does that mean for us? Share your thoughts below. Are elite relationships genuine or manipulative?